This is 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. And it says, "For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Mashiach." I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatter from the Chicago camp, coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And once again, this is 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. And it says, "For as the body is one and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also in Mashiach." And this precept was inspired by, just a thought that the Spirit just brought to me. And, it pertains to, every brother that's in this truth, regardless of what camp you're in, what age you are, what rank you are, how long you've been in the truth. All right, something like this applies to every single brother. And that thought is just, hey man, your lot in this truth is just as important. Okay, it may be different, but it's just as important, because as we'll read on, it says, "For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, this truth, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many." All right, because even in the basic human anatomy sense, all right, your fingers are totally different from your eye. They don't look the same. They don't do the same things, but they're all attached to this one big organism called the human body. And they both are equally as important to the body, even though they have very different functions, as every brother in this truth. All right, just because you're not the greatest speaker, or just because you're not a camp leader or a deacon, or you don't have a whole lot of visions, well, whatever the case may be, if you're in this truth, if you're part of the body of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, you are important in this truth. The Lord would not bring you into this truth to do the work diligently, day in and day out, for you to not be important in this truth. You have to remember, even the scripture says, "He who saveth one soul is considered wise." All right, your portion in this truth is just as important as the next brother's, because there's going to be a task or a soul that you may be able to do, or a person you may be able to reach, that only the Lord put it on your spirit for you to be able to reach that person. All right. And one of the best examples, after I read this, is going to be in the book of Ruth, but I want to continue in this. It says, "If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would the smelling? But now hath the power set the members, every one of them, in the body, as it hath pleased him." All right. So he made every brother different and unique within this body, this ministry, this truth, to do the function that the Lord ordained it to be. You may not think much of a pinky toe until you stub it or break it, And then for the next couple of weeks, you're kind of walking wobbly. All right? You might not think that your nose hairs are a big deal until you can't filter out any dirt or smoke or anything and your nose gets burnt to a crisp. All right? All these things in the body have their function. They are different, but they are equally as important as it pertains to this truth. And it says, but now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say it to the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. All right? The brain and the eyelash are two totally different parts of the body. Now, granted, the brain does a lot more things and it has more responsibility than the eyelashes, but walk around with no eyelashes. Everything's coming in there. Dirt, gnats, flies. Then your eye gets irritated. Then you can't see. All right? As the scripture said, everything is placed in the body of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, with this specific purpose and its importance to this ministry. And it says, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but the power have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked. That there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. Meaning that every single part of the body functions to make sure that everything functions accordingly. The body won't function properly without a heart, or two kidneys, or liver. Okay? All of these things are important. Every single man in this truth who is preaching this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility, every single brother is important. Just because it's different doesn't mean that your lot is any less important. And what I want to do is go to the book of Ruth. And I want to say it's towards the end, because it gives a quick breakdown of the lineage. And this is Ruth 4:18. Now these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begot Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nahshon, and Nahshon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David, who we all know was the king, and David begat Solomon, who we know was Yahweh Shai in one of the past reincarnations. Now, clearly, when the kingdom is set up, we all know that the order is going to be Yahweh Shai, and King David. Now, does it mean that these other men were of any less importance? No. Because if these men weren't placed at the proper time in history, and if the Lord did not put the Spirit on them to do the things that they did, okay, you wouldn't have this lineage. David is going to be above Jesse and Boaz and Obed, but does that mean that Boaz, Obed, and Jesse, does it mean that their importance in this truth was any less? No. Their part in this truth was equally as important, because it was through their seed that they established the holy lineage. So brothers, you can't be in this truth and, just looking at other brothers and, wishing you could be camp heads or, have this brother's thing. I mean, I understand the scripture says, desire or covet, the spiritual gifts. But at the same time, you can't compare your lot and your importance to this truth to another brother's, because his path is totally different, just like your path is totally different. But at the same time, it's within the truth, so it's equally as important. And that's one thing that you can't lose sight of, because once you lose sight of that, you start drifting down a path that'll lead you out of this truth, and you don't want to do that. So brothers, just stay diligent in your walk of faith and understand that all the work that you're doing is not in vain and is equally as important as the next brothers. So that's all I wanted to say on this. Once again, giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. With that, we're going to say shalom.